Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeff White, Jeff White Fitness Solutions. Thanks for checking out yet another video. And this one is about money in the economy. Now, we've all heard about the layoffs for the federal government, and many people are upset about it. And there are many potential reasons as to why he's doing it. And I'm not going to get into the reasons why. We could talk about that all day. But what I want to focus on is something I don't see anyone else talking about, and it's the potential ramifications of these layoffs, the ripple effect. And one ripple effect that I see that could potentially happen is layoffs in state jobs, or states seeing drastic problems with these layoffs, because it's a ripple effect and it's compounding. All these different things are adding up to impact the states. So we're going to talk about that today. And I'd like to hear what you guys think. So please leave me a comment, and please subscribe to the channel. I like to talk about a variety of different topics, many things that I like to think are not mainstream or things people don't really think about. So please leave a comment and please subscribe. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so the first thing I want to do is let's talk about how states make their money, how they generate revenue. And states primarily make money through various sources of tax revenue. Taxes, that's the word everyone hates, taxes. No one wants to pay more taxes, but we have to remember states get money via taxes, tax revenue. So first one is general and selective sales taxes. That's the largest source of revenue for most states. Sales tax. Next is personal income tax. That is another high source of revenue for states. And then you have other means of raising revenue. And one example, you got property taxes, of course. And another one that's not on here is the issuance of bonds, of revenue bonds. You may hear about your city issuing a revenue bond, or for bridges or things of that nature. And that is another way they generate revenue also. And then, of course, local tax systems. So again, we don't like taxes, but this is how states make money. Because I remember something, the states can't print money like the federal government. So they have to be creative and find any way they can to get that revenue coming in. So it's critical we understand how states get their money. Okay, so now let's just break it down and just see how states get their tax revenue, or the largest sources of their tax revenue. And you can clearly see here, this is a great little picture. It gives you a really good idea of how states get their tax revenue, or the largest sources. And you can see, like, California is big on personal income tax, so is New York. And a lot of people say the taxes are so high in these states, it's so high I can't take it. Well, that's their main source of revenue, so that's what they do. Then you have other states who have sales tax. So tax, again, I don't like paying taxes. No one does. We have to understand that there is a reason for it, and this is how they generate their revenue. So you have personal and sales tax, and then the other tax. So, that's basically what it is. So what I'm doing here is I'm painting a picture, and then I'm going to really break down as to why I think the states are in trouble. But I kind of think you may see where I'm going with this. All right, so let's go. Keep going. Okay, so here's something to consider. You may or may not have really thought about this, but the federal government also provides money to states. And here's just a statistic from 2021. In 2021, the US government provided nearly 1.3 trillion to state and local governments through federal grants. And these grants made up a fifth of states' total revenues. And these funded things like healthcare, education, social services, infrastructure, and public safety programs. And here are the 5 states that received the most federal aid. That's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. I know this is back in 2021, but think about it. What would happen if the federal government decided to stop or cut back on how much they give these states? Do you think that could impact the state's bottom line and things they can do in the state? These are just some things we need to think about. Now, we all know about the federal government and their $36 trillion budget deficit, but how many people knew that states are also running deficits as well? And some of these deficits are in the billions of dollars. Now, in defense of some of the larger states, they have more people, so they have a bigger budget. So, unfortunately, their deficit may be a little bigger. But the fact of the matter is, they still have a deficit because, like the country, the states run by debt, meaning they borrow money, and but they have to pay that money back, just like the U.S. government is supposed to pay it back. So, to make a long story short, there are a lot of states. The majority of states in the U.S. have a debt that they have to repay, and some are a lot bigger than others. So then you have to ask yourself, how are they going to pay it back? That's where the tax revenues come in, and the issuance of those county bonds and things of that nature. So this is a very interesting situation. So now we're going to get into some really key points about the states and generating money and the effects of these layoffs by the federal government. Okay, so here go a few key points that we must remember about states. Now, states can't print money like the U.S. government can. That means they have to come up with creative ways to generate revenue, and their number one way of generating revenue is via taxes. The one thing we all hate, paying taxes. Here's something else to really think about. More layoffs means less tax revenues and income tax collected. This can apply to all those jobs in your city, in your state, where people are getting laid off. Think about it. Every state is being affected by people getting laid off. They get laid off, those tax revenues are not coming in. Then again, more layoffs could impact other local businesses. See, it's a domino effect. If your company lays people off, then that means, if especially if they're going to work, they got to go to work. They may eat food around the restaurants near the job, whatever. They may do some type of food delivery, things of that nature. They may go out for happy hour after work. On the way home from work, they may, stop off at the store, buy some food or buy some clothes or pick up something for the kids. Those local businesses also are impacted because now there are less people buying in that area. So, in addition to that, more layoffs could decrease tourism revenues for those states, because if you don't have a job, you may not be trying to travel. You have states like Florida, California, New York, those are popular touristy areas. If you are not working, you're not going to travel. And many of these states rely on tourism for revenue. Here's another key point that I won't really go into here, but this is a very important part also, and that is these states may have difficulty paying pensions if layoffs really impact their state. Because remember, they use tax revenues to do a lot of different things, and paying pensions is one of them. And last but certainly not least, if there are less federal grants, let's just say the current president decides to cut costs by cutting grants and things of that nature to those states. That's less money for the states for them to do various things. And that would include paying state workers. So all of these things are very important and can play a key role in how these states are doing. Okay, guys, so of course I hope I'm wrong about all this. I'm hoping way off, but I just see that this potentially could happen because it's a domino effect. If we see layoffs at the federal level and potential cutbacks, and then you see the layoffs in each state and in many cities across the country, that could have a direct impact on the state's ability to generate revenue via taxes. And again, I hope I'm wrong about this, but they could come down to, cutting state workers. Here are some of the more popular state jobs. So anyone who works in these areas should really pay close attention to what's going on in the country right now. So you have the public health workers, public administration, the nonprofit sector, and education. Now there are more jobs in each sector, but I just gave a general idea of some of the most popular. So it's very important that we just at least pay attention to what's going on. Now, on a side note here, I have a picture of one of my books. I've written 11 books. I'm all about motivation, self-help, entrepreneurship, and things of that nature. And this book here is geared to kids. It's called Planting Seeds, the Children's Guide to Entrepreneurship. It's available in English, French, and Spanish. And they don't teach this in school. Now, my thinking is people should at least know they have the ability to create a job or make a job for themselves instead of relying on someone else to do it. And the earlier a person can understand this, the better. I'm not saying go out and start a business today, but at least know that you have the opportunity and the ability to. Because too many of us just rely on someone else to give us a job, when in actuality, we need to know that we can do it on our own if we can't find a job at the very least. So this book is on Amazon. Check it out. I also have an online course on Udemy. Um, it's about children's entrepreneurship as well. You can check that out. I'll put the links to each in the description box of this video. All right, so now we have to talk about what we can do. Again, I'm not going to debate on why he's doing it or if it's the right thing or wrong thing or anything of that nature. We can say that for another video and another person to discuss it. I want to talk about how this impacts us. We have to also talk about how it impacts us and what we can do to help ourselves instead of spending so much time analyzing the situation and trying to point fingers. So here's some things we can do. The first thing is you got to pay attention and be proactive. Years ago, I was a financial advisor, a stockbroker, and every morning meeting, they really drilled into our heads that we are forecasters. We have to look 3, 6, 12, 18 months into the future and then pick stocks based on that. You don't want to focus on right now. You want to anticipate where the trends and tide is headed. So that's what I do. So that's what I'm looking at here when I look at the states, as I look at the federal government. So again, you got to pay attention and be proactive. And that means being mentally prepared for anything. We can prepare for what's the phrase? We can prepare for the best, but expect the worst. So we just have to be mentally prepared for anything to happen. And one thing we can definitely do is start working on creating multiple streams of income. I can't stress this enough. And every day it's more and more evident as you see the layoffs and things happening. There are many people out there who want to work but can't. And it's not because they aren't trying to get a job. A lot of places just laying off, or the jobs just aren't paying enough. We are relying on one income check to pay all our bills. And we got to get past that because it's just not working because inflation is just too high. You need multiple income streams. They all don't have to be big income streams, they can be small because they all add up and they go into the same pot, which is your pocket. So multiple income streams is key. And I've, posted many videos about multiple income streams and also have two items here that I created. The first is the book, Invest for Success, Millionaire, What Strategies Not Taught in School, which talks about various income streams and things of that nature. And the second thing here is an online course I created on Udemy, and it's titled Tired of the 9 to 5, How to Retire Early with Passive Income. These are very important strategies to have going forward because, again, you may want to work, but you can't. And your bills do not care if you have a job or not. So I have a link to the description um, for both of these. And I have a link to both of these products in the description box on this channel, on this page. And next thing you want to do is you want to work on cutting expenses. You want to cut as much of your debt as you can. You want to live as our cheap is such a negative connotation word, but you want to live where you don't have as many expenses. And that's going to be huge going forward as things get tough, because inflation is still here and things will continue to get more expensive. And last but certainly not least, you want to get money outside of the system. And that could be things like gold, silver, and cryptocurrency. The rationale here is, as things get more expensive, gold and silver will definitely retain their value. Gold and silver have never gone to zero, and you may be able to use that to help you either stay afloat, or when the time is right, you can use that to buy more assets, preferably assets that can generate revenue for you. I have many videos on that as well, and I talk about that in my book and my online course. So definitely look into something like that. So these are things we can do. Just pay attention. I'm really hoping I'm wrong about all these things, but it's been a crazy 4 to 5 years, and there's no indication it's going to get any less crazy. So now's the time to really pay attention and step your game up, because quite frankly, no one is coming to save you. I really think people see that now. If you see the federal government laying people off, and then you see all these jobs cutting people, no one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. You have to save yourself. So, with that said, thanks for watching the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. What is your opinion? If you don't agree with me, I would love to hear it. Just tell me why you don't think this is something that could happen, because I'm always looking for new perspectives, because I am an unconscious incompetent. Or should I say a conscious incompetent? All right, guys, take care. Peace.